So we're charging up the conversation and continuing to look at a number of other issues in the Nigeria energy market space. Now, very recently, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, called for an emergency meeting with the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, and key oil marketers in Nigeria's downstream petroleum sector, including Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, MOMAN, and Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association, in response to recent news of a possible increase in pump price of petrol. Now, after exhaustive deliberations, they agreed that the speculations of an imminent upward price review of petrol were unfounded and premised on the fact that the current market fundamentals, as captured on the PPPRA pricing template for petrol, confirm that the market is operating within the existing price band of 135 naira and 145 naira per litre. But joining me now to talk more about these issues and, of course, a number of issues that were raised at that emergency meeting is the Executive Secretary, Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, Obafemi Olawore. Mr. Olawore, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining me on the program.
Thank you for inviting me.
So it's no secret about the emergency meeting. At least we got the outcome of what was actually, deliberated at that meeting. But what I'm sure a lot of Nigerians would like to know is what or who started talks of a proposed increase in petrol pump price in the first place?
Definitely not from major marketers. But from what we read, I think we read that the former GMDs met with the current GMD and offered an opinion. And that is what started the whole thing. As far as we are concerned, that's not on the table yet. We have more urgent and serious matters to talk with government on. So we never talked about price increase for now.
So what are the major issues for major oil marketers right now?
Oh, right now, and that's not for major marketers alone, it's for all importers of petroleum product. If you recall, shortly before the elections last year, we were going into a scarcity situation, and we were all told to import. Banks were also almost ordered to open LCs, and all these things were done. We brought in product at 197 naira to $1, and as we speak, we have not exited that transaction, which means if you want to exit now, you're going to look for naira dollar exchange rate of 300 and something. So as we speak now, banks are really exposed to the tune of about $1.4 billion. And the longer it stays, the more dangerous it becomes, because several banks are unable to open lines of credit for us because their own counterparts overseas are waiting for the dollars, and we don't have it. We have the naira in the banks, but we don't have the dollars. 197, and then we are now talking of 320, 330. Who bears the difference?
Mr. Olawore, what happened to negotiations between international oil companies working in conjunction with the NNPC and the central bank to provide Forex to marketers for the importation of petrol?
Good. The arrangement is the IOCs bring dollars to the table to sell to us through NNPC at the current interbank rate. That's the problem. Okay, it's not given to us at any special rate. As a matter of fact, at the meeting we held, and I think I can say this openly, at the meeting we held with the Honorable Minister of State, he did assure us that all efforts are going to be made such that we do not get into any exchange rates that will make the band impossible to maintain. Okay, so the that is the good news we heard from him, but we do not get the dollar from the IOCs at any rate lower than the interbank rates.
And the interbank rates, according to FMDQ, OTC Securities Exchange, closed at 308 naira to the dollar yesterday. That's an improvement from where we've seen it at in the last couple of days.
We got some of us got the dollars 2 weeks ago at 320. There's a particular importer that got it at 330. Okay, but what we're looking at is, okay, there was a time it was lower, so you gain some here and you lose some there. But we will want to see a rate that is below 305. If it is below 305, then the band will still be maintained.
So if marketers are battling with Forex issues, among other things, is it that there's no plan just yet to transfer this to the customers? Because at the end of the day, that's what actually happens. So again, I'm going to ask you, is this the last Nigerians are going to hear about any possible increase in pump price? Because they really can't afford to have that right now.
I wish I was a prophet to be able to do that. But realistically, what affects price? Let me tell you some of the issues that affect price that are not known to the public. One, there's something they call temporary import permit that we pay to customs. It is not on the template, and that's $25,000 per vessel. And for a 15,000 tonner, it gets to about 56 kobo per liter. Where do you get that money from? Okay, there is also the issue of NPA dues, which we pay for in dollars. You bring in product, you take your naira and go and look for the dollars to pay NPA. There are some other issues. NIMASA fees are paid in dollars. So these are the challenges that we face that make it very, very difficult for us to operate. So instead of people looking at importers as rogues, I think they should praise importers for being able to maintain that price. Okay, and you look at other flimsy charges. States are charging a lot of taxes for a product that is capped at a particular level. You don't have any. We don't care if Lagos State Wharf Landing is charged on diesel and kerosene. We don't have a problem with that. But if you transfer it to PMS, to petrol, then what we are saying is that no matter how small it is, I must recover it.
So is that the reason why for some states, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, and I'm going to read this, for the month of July, when they did their petrol pricing, Bayelsa, Taraba, and Nasarawa recorded the highest average prices of petrol between 160 and 165 naira per litre in July, clearly contravening the PPPRA's directive to ensure that there's no price distortion in respective price outlets. So is that the reason? Why do you think is responsible for this?
I wouldn't know exactly what is responsible, because those prices definitely do not refer to major marketers' retail outlets, because I checked also. And but I think we should call on DPR to always be on the road to check all these excessive behaviors of our people. For example, I had cause to call them when I heard that some petrol stations were not selling on Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I said, what? Who is telling them? And when they swung into action, all the stations along Awolowo Road are selling. Nobody told them, because we do not give directives just like that. There has to be a genuine reason, and we have to have conversations and discussions with the regulatory authorities before we do anything. So I think that government agencies should do their work. Those that are charging fees that are not even receipted should desist from that. And we have appealed to our own minister to appeal to the other ministries that are doing all these things to stop, because it puts more pressure on the price of the product.
It's that time of the year again. We're getting close to the holidays, November, December, January. Those are usually the periods where you begin to hear of petrol scarcity, you hear of marketers hoarding, and then you find long queues at the fueling station. Nigerians are at their throats trying to get, at each other's throats trying to get petrol. Is that going to be the case this year? Are you saying that we have enough products that has wet the ground enough to stave off a possible scarcity?
I believe that we can stave off that particular occurrence this year. And it's one of the things that we discussed at the emergency meeting. You see, when you're getting towards the winter months, the refineries overseas try to produce more of the heating oils and less of petrol. So you have pressure on petrol from countries like Nigeria. But we have been meeting, and as we speak today, we have, from my own major marketers area, we have more than 300 million liters of product. And MPC has their own, and Depot and they also have their own product. So we have enough for now, and we are planning that the scarcity does not occur this year.
All right, thank you so much for telling us that and of giving us that assurance, but thank you so also for coming on the program this morning.
You're welcome.
Business Morning returns after now. Stay with us.